Welcome to Sports BackTalk with Bully and Ringer, and here we are at Super Bowl Sunday. Mike, are you ready? Are the wings?
The wings have been marinated. They're
Are they been cooked?
no, you don't cook them right away. After you got to let them rest, like a good steak, Ringer. You got to let your wings rest.
Well, wait a minute now. We're taping this at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
The game's at 5:30. The wings got to be done by what, like 4?
Well, no, we'll vary around. We're making all kinds of varieties and all kinds of styles, and they'll be delivered at all different times. So, this guy, I want that jersey.
Look at this jersey.
That's my Merino jersey.
Look at this. This is a Merino jersey.
Yeah, that's my guy. That's my boy. But
he's your boy. Dan Marino's your boy.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Now I've got issues. But anyway, so the wings have not been cooked yet. They're just still.
There's wings. I know my daughter cooked hers probably by now, and she's got hers in the crock.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like mine settling in the crock. I have a tendency to get a little soggy in the crock.
Okay.
Tip for you chicken wing people out there: don't get those wings in the crock.
Wait till the last minute.
Yeah, ours are going to come out and they're going to be crispy and they're amazing.
Okay.
So, anyways, here we are at the Viking Bar, downtown International Falls. Stop number 1 on the stop of 3 different venues today. It's similar to last year. The camera angle's a little different. We're here now with the new owners, Tammy and Betty, and they took over on February 1st. I wasn't aware that they took over that early, so I didn't even have permission yet. Chris told me I could come in here, but we talked to Tammy and Betty, and they were more than gracious to let us do our show.
Absolutely, we appreciate it very much, and they're getting all set up. I can see the salsas and the dips, and they probably got wings too. They probably not as good as Mike's. Apparently.
Oh, they're better than mine. Wings and weenies, and probably ribs and steak.
Taco dip. Oh, see,
Doherty's probably brought some lobster. So maybe some walleye.
Ooh, that sounds really good.
Yeah.
We might be coming back.
But his brother would have had to catch him. Anyways, we were Super Bowl 52, downtown Minneapolis. Burke was there. My son Burke was there last night.
Why?
Meeting people from Philadelphia and Boston, and had it happen. Him and like 3 or 4 of his buddies. They parked all day for $4.
Oh, that's a good deal.
They
rode the train in?
5 different establishments. They said their favorite stop was a place called Zulu's or Zolo's. Okay, and just had a fantastic time. They were responsible. He didn't get home till 2 in the morning, but they have a beverage here, and
I can't imagine going down there. I can't imagine being down there with that many people. It would be too insane for me. That's why I said, why would you want to go down there? Yeah. I saw International Falls' Evan Omdahl was down there yesterday with a buddy of his. I saw on Facebook, and to me, I guess you make your life experiences what they are, but I don't think that would be one of them that I would want to go through. It just, to me, just wouldn't work.
And Burke's a good people person. He loves talking to people, but he doesn't like crowds, so he's kind of catch-22 for him. But he said it was one of the most enjoyable times he's had.
Good.
And like I told Diana on our way over here, he said, I'm 57 years old. I have not yet even been close to a Super Bowl. And Burke now turned 30, and he's attended his first
well, next year you and I will have to go down for the Final Four at U.S. Bank. Will that be anywhere close to the same thing?
Think you can get our show in there? We're going to test your negotiating skills.
I would love to make a whirlwind for that. Maybe tape the show on Saturday before, get tickets and tape it before. That sounds like
all they can say is no. I've always said a good salesperson, if you aren't getting enough no's, you're not doing your job. So. We'll go down there. We'll try to negotiate something for next year. Anyway, Super Bowl 52, New England Patriots versus the Philadelphia Eagles.
E-A-G-L-E-S.
And the Patriots are the home team based on, I think it's a year-by-year thing.
Sure.
So next year the NFC will be the home team. But do you think that's going to make a big advantage in this game?
Who's got the home team?
Yes.
No, not in football. Only in hockey does that make a difference.
Okay. So
well, I mean, as far as where they play the games at, as far as those kinds of things go, hockey you get the last line change when you're the home team. That is, I believe, a decided advantage for those teams that are like that. But in football, in a place like this, just like the national championship game for college, no difference. It doesn't matter what color jersey, what side of the stadium you're on, it's nothing.
Okay, and now getting back to the same question, Eagles having to practice at the University of Minnesota stadium, TCF, outside. Does that make a big difference?
Well, I would guess that they probably got to use the indoor facility too if they wanted to.
Oh, they got one there?
They've got an indoor facility, so they. I'm sure they got to use the Bierman Gibson Nagurski is the name of the place, and I know that they are in the works of getting a new indoor because it's been around since Holtz was there in '84, '85.
Yep.
That was when that building was built. So 30 years later, it probably needs a upgrade, and somebody has got a big checkbook that will come along and say. But actually, I know that the Buffalo Bills, when they played Washington back in '92, the Buffalo Bills were at the Gopher Complex. I actually got to go because I was working with the Gophers at the time, so I actually got to stop by and be a little bit a part of the Super Bowl. That was as much as I got the last time when it was here in '92. So,
and you really don't have to know anything. Go ahead.
It just seems like every 26 years, the Minnesota will get the Super Bowl. So the next time the Super Bowl will be in Minnesota will be 2044, and I just hope that maybe I'll be around.
Well, not if the East Coast snobs have anything to do with it.
Ooh.
I mean,
what are you hearing?
All the media from New York to Boston. I mean, it isn't exactly San Diego.
No.
This time of the year. And,
no.
I mean, I went to school in Providence, and it was horrendous. And they don't have a lot of trees. And when it was cold, it was 15, 20 degrees, it felt like below zero. Okay, so walking around campus in the middle of the...
You actually mean you went to class that time?
Well, no, I was walking around campus. I didn't mention anything about walking into buildings.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Walking into my dorm to go to bed, but it's brutal weather. And here I don't know if you saw any of my tweets, but there's Boston Herald and then the Providence Journal writers are putting down Minnesota, saying it's not a place to have a Super Bowl because it won't bring in corporate America. Well, I don't know if you know this, but Fortune 500 companies are pretty relevant in the Twin Cities area.
Yeah.
I think per capita could be the tops in the United States per capita based on the amount of Fortune 500 companies we have. So there's enough Fortune 500. I've heard nothing but great things about downtown Minneapolis. Heard more complaints maybe at the Mall of America, but downtown Minneapolis has been festive. Everybody's having a great time. And Burke talked to, Burke, probably 50, 60 people from out of town. And they said, this is beautiful. People are friendly, they're having fun, and you can dress for the cold.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is you have to come with the attitude of, I'm not going to the beach, I'm going to do whatever. And I know the zip lining thing probably would have been the one thing that I probably would have tried to do while I was downtown going across the Mississippi River. That looked fun. But the rest of the stuff with all the crowds and the concerts and everything else, I would try to pass on those kinds of things. Just not my style, and I'm more interested in the game, and let's get to the game. Not here, but let's get to the game and let's quit all the other rigmarole and the 10 days of partying and the festivities and all the rest of the stuff. To me, it's obviously there is that part that needs to be done for certain people, but for
this guy's teasing me with this Marino jersey.
For this person, we don't need all the hype and the 10 days and the week leading up to it. We just need Sunday. We just need the football game, and that would be enough for me.
Yeah, I mean, would I like to attend something like this? Yes, it's right up my alley.
Right.
But I'm not willing to fork over the kind of money. Ooh. I mean, if you want a motel downtown Minneapolis, you probably would have to book it a year ago. You're paying probably $1,000 to $2,000 a night. Yeah. And then the tickets, I heard just today, even $8,000 to $10,000 a seat.
They said last year's average ticket price was like $3,700. I read this in the paper the other day. This year it's like $6,900 or something.
Yep.
It was like
crazy.
It's nuts. So is that being driven up by the fact that it's Minnesota people trying to get to the Super Bowl in Minnesota, or is this just because it's the old GOAT and it's Tom Brady and it's New England and the whatever for Philadelphia? What do you think? I'm
probably a good mixture.
Is it just the economy? Is that, I don't know. It just seems nuts to pay.
Well, the economy's been good. A lot of people might be cashing out part of their 401ks to go to the Super Bowl. But anyways, I saw parking today just downtown Minneapolis, $200 to $400 just for parking. I mean, Ringer, what's wrong? That's not Minnesota nice.
And that is with the area. I mean, like 10 blocks within. Already blocked up. You're not even going to get that close, so you're paying $200 possibly to park 15 blocks away. way, and we know how cold it is out here. I'm sure it's not that much warmer in Minneapolis, and if the wind is blowing, I'm sure it feels...
Exactly. So this is our first stop again. We're just kind of giving you a little idea what we're doing. We're going to jump over to Hanson's next, but we won't give our picks till the final
end.
stop.
Are we going to talk anything about the game at this stop?
We can talk briefly. We got, what time is it?
Well,
we got another 5 to 8 minutes, so we can talk a little bit.
Do you want to talk offense, defense, special teams? What do you want to talk about first?
You pick the class.
All right, we'll start with the offense because that's where, of course, all the games and championships are won, right? With the tongue-in-cheek. You said something to me in the last couple of days, somewhere along the way, that you would take the New England running backs versus the Philadelphia running backs. But what I want to ask you is, running game. Which team has the better running game? Where you actually turn around and hand the ball off to a running back. Not this, I'll take the running backs going out of the backfield and we'll dump pass and all this other stuff, because that's an important part. But running game, which team's got the better running game?
I think the best pure running back out of the 5 that probably are going to play today is Dion Lewis for the New England Patriots. Jay Ajayi's close. Yeah. Okay, he would be the main back for Philly. But Dion Lewis has breakaway speed. He can take 150, 60 yards at any time. He does real well in the passing game, which is a big part of New England's game. Yeah. You got James White and Rex Burkhead's probably going to get some play today as well. So you got a 3-headed backfield there. Over on the other side, you got Ajayi. And then last year's New England Patriot, you got Garrett Blunt probably going to be doing the goal line stuff. So I think overall, New England has a better running game because the passing game is such a bigger threat.
Okay, so I'll throw this out to you. With the defensive line that Philly has, does that equalize the ability to be able to run? And of course, that makes what Tom Brady and the running backs coming out of the backfield, the dump passes and Gronkowski and everything else, does that become more important to New England because even though they may have the better running backs, they're not going to be able to run against Philly?
Well, you got Jernigan, you got Fletcher Cox. Of course, Fletcher Cox probably the best defensive tackle outside of Aaron Donald of the L.A. Rams. But, it'll play a little bit. But you got to remember, and I brought this up to you before, I believe on Coach's Corner, is New England went up against the best defensive team in the AFC last week. With some high-end linebackers, a big defensive end, a couple good defensive tackles, but they were more known for their defensive backs. And New England still threw for 300 yards. So it's a situational offense. Take what they can get. There's not a smarter quarterback in football than Tom Brady. He's going to know right away when he gets up to the line of scrimmage what play is going to work and what play is not. That's the difference in this game, I think. But I'm not telling you who I'm picking here. I'm hinting pretty doggone hard.
You know, after I just thought about this. After the AFC Championship game in New England won, you notice that they never said another word about Tom Brady's cut hand, the stitches. No. You haven't heard a word about that over the last 2 weeks.
No.
We've had all this build-up and whatever else.
It's all been about who?
About
all the talk's been on who the last week? Gronkowski.
Well, with the possible concussion and not being a part of the.
So the more discussion's been on him, which takes it off of Brady and Belichick, and of course all that stuff's still up in the air about Brady retiring and Belichick moving on and all that garbage. That's not going to happen. Okay, Kraft is not going to let those two walk, and we'll probably see him in the Super Bowl again next year.
The biggest thing I think New England's got going into the offseason, win or lose, it doesn't really matter. They're probably going to lose both their coordinators. And you know that Belichick obviously is a big piece of that very, 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 very good coach. But now you're going to bring in possibly 2 different offensive coordinators or offense and defense coordinators. That'll be interesting to see how that all plays out.
What happened the last time that happened?
Well, when's the last time New England got a new defensive coordinator? Patricia's been there for
been there a while.
For how long?
Charlie Weiss and
and that's holy cow, Charlie Weiss. That's got to be
Notre Dame and
that 10 years ago.
You went to some
Kansas, I think, and then
anyways, you think about that. McDaniels went to try at Denver, right?
Right.
What do you last? 2 years?
2 years. Huh?
Back in New England. I mean, is that going to happen to him again? Probably. He's going to Indianapolis unless.
Is that what you're hearing?
It's a definite. It's a done deal. But that'll be interesting. I'm not worried. Again, that team is Belichick and Brady. Everybody doesn't realize, but he's also kind of a defensive coordinator. Because he goes around and he talks to everybody on the team. He just isn't worried about his offense. He goes over and talks to the defensive players, and
you
he
mentioned
keeps them
this
going and keep it close. I'll take care of it. I'll win it for us. So I'm not too worried about losing defensive and offensive coordinators.
Did you happen to watch the end of Countdown on ESPN, their picks at the end? Did you happen?
No, I did not.
Okay. We can
We'll bring that up at the next stop.
We'll bring that up at the next stop, but I thought it was interesting what some of the people were saying about their picks and why they were picking, who they were picking is kind of...
Okay, we'll talk about that at the next one. Anything else?
That's good enough.
Should we move on? We're here again at Viking Bar with Tammy and Betty. They were more than gracious to invite us in, and the place hasn't changed anything yet. Not saying it won't, but these two know how to run a bar, so I would expect the place to be ran well and bring some fun back here at the Viking Bar.
We'll see you over at Hanson's.
See you over at Hanson's.
Well, welcome to Hanson's Outpost. We've switched locations, and here we are.
We're cold right over. It's freezing out.
You asked me, was it this cold last year? And I told you yes. Maybe not quite as cold, but I remember it being pretty chilly.
Yeah, it's what, February 4th. Yes, International Falls. It's supposed to be cold here.
It's supposed to be cold. That's the idea. It's part of the reason why we supposedly live here. Yes.
So where are we at?
Where are we at?
We're at Hanson's.
We're at Hanson's. We're at the Outpost, and yeah, good people starting to get set up for the party here. Yep. Of course, just like they were over at the Vikings. So obviously the crowd will start bringing in. It's only about 20 to 3 right now, so it's what, 2 hours and about 45 minutes to game time. And
well, believe me, the owners want people to be here a lot earlier, but it makes for a long night when the game starts at 5:30 and doesn't end till probably 9 tonight. So.
And you got to go to work tomorrow.
Yeah, a lot of people. I have to work. Do you have to work?
Of course, I have to work tomorrow. Unfortunately, those kids need to be educated. Yeah, you know. So.
Yeah, I saw. What's the number one excuse that people use to get tomorrow off?
Ooh, that they're sick.
Yeah, that's the number one. Yeah. Well, you don't want to be. Well, you do want to be honest, because I know some of my coworkers. Watch the show. You know, I'm working Monday. Okay, I'm not taking any day off.
I know. I told you yesterday that Eli was feeling under the weather, and my wife and I already have had the discussion. Who might be taking tomorrow off? Because it's kind of like, well, you take tomorrow off, what's the reason exactly why you're taking it off? So anyway, sounds like she'd be taking the day off. Tim will be going to work, doggone it.
Oh, really?
I lost out. I think I stayed home the last time he was sick.
And Eli's 3, so he has no work or no school.
Yeah, he doesn't. He won't even care about that football.
He's got
game.
life where he needs it.
All he remembers is that when Minnesota won against New Orleans, all he kept saying was, "Daddy, be quiet. Stop yelling."
He didn't say I'm embarrassed.
That's our Super Bowl.
That was our Super Bowl.
He didn't say I'm embarrassed or anything?
He did not say he's embarrassed yet, but he will probably someday when it comes to that. Let's continue on with our conversation. We were talking about the offenses and maybe who has the better offense. And of course, everybody that I've talked to says because of Tom Brady, it doesn't really matter everything else. New England's got the better offense.
Yeah, I believe so. And if there is a defense that's going to stop them, it would have been either the Vikings, the Jacksonville Jaguars, or the Philadelphia Eagles. To me, those are the 3 best defenses that can stop a Tom Brady-led offense.
Okay.
And I guess they got rid of pawn number 1. They knew they didn't have to play both Minnesota and Philly, so they got, I believe, the lesser of the 2 evils, because I thought Minnesota overall is a better defense. They didn't show it, but I think Tom Brady's a little more relieved playing against Philadelphia than he is Minnesota.
We talked about this, about Gronk coming back and how much, even though New England would be good, this kind of, if Gronkowski wasn't there, I would say this game is even closer than I already think it's going to be. But you mentioned that when Gronkowski was out against Jacksonville, it didn't seem to matter. But the point I want to make is how much better it makes them, because look, in my mind, he's kind of their deeper threat. He's kind of the one that they'll try to stretch and get him down the field 25, 30 yards and have him catching it on the fly. You don't see many of their wide receivers catching 30-yard, 40-yard bombs. Of course, I don't know if Tom can throw it.
Cooks maybe.
I don't know if Brady can throw it that far anymore. which is my
about somebody else?
which is my Drew Brees problem.
Yeah, what are you attacking two Hall of Famers that they can't throw the ball over 40
Well, they're
yards?
40 years old, so they can't.
I could throw the ball over 40 yards.
No, you can't.
And I was done as a senior in high school.
You can't throw the ball 40 yards anymore.
We're going to have this. One of our shows, you're going to go 40 yards down, and I'm going to throw you a bullet.
And we'll put the camera up in the, we'll even put the wireless mic on you, and we'll get this thing, we'll get it so it works out. And we'll go out at sports stadium. We'll mark out 40 yards. We'll see if you can still chuck it.
No, this will be a show. This will be a show. Neil Shee, I'm going to get him up here because
Neil can run routes for you
once in a while, my right shoulder. Yeah, Neil can run routes. He's in great shape.
After he lost what, 80 pounds?
Yeah,
he looks outstanding. Yeah.
I have a bad right shoulder. Not to change the subject, but I told him that. I said, I don't know if it's from my old quarterback days. He said, Bully, you never threw. All you did was hand the ball off to Raboy.
There you go.
So, anyways, it was hurting. He did his little stuff that he does.
And it's magic.
It is.
It is.
I went to the goose hunting, and we throw footballs around there, and my arm was a new arm. Even my brother was saying, wow, my hands are sore.
Holy cow. Wow.
How do we get
must be waiting.
We'll get back to Gronkowski.
Yeah.
Here's the deal with him. Even if he catches no passes, one pass today, he's still going to be effective.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be drawing two double coverage all game long. They've already said it. They've already said it, especially down the red zone. So that's going to leave Amendola, Chris Hogan,
the running backs,
Brandon Cooks, the running backs. More importantly, the running backs, because a lot of tight end passes, they clear out those linebackers, and the running backs go one-on-one with the other linebackers. He gets around him. He's got free sailing for a while, and you will see at least 3 plays of that today where a running back gains more than 30 yards on a reception. But so not that Gronkowski won't catch more than one pass today or 0 passes. Right. He probably will, but even if he doesn't, him suiting up is a big asset to that New England offense.
That's I can't disagree with you. It's a great point. Who's got the better wide receivers?
Well, talent-wise, Alshon Jeffrey's probably the best of the bunch. The ex-Chicago Bear Pro Bowler.
Would you consider him a deep threat?
No.
He's more of a possession.
He's kind of a Demaryius Thomas, Michael Irvin. Covers a lot of ground in the middle. Not a breakaway receiver. And catches most everything that's thrown his way. But, he's definitely not that player. He did get 2 touchdowns against the Vikings. He knows how to get open. He's tall, 6'4", goes about 220, so he's a big receiver. And I think he is the best all-around receiver in this game. Brandon Cooks is more of a speed burner where he can spread the field, which is what Gronkowski and the running backs are like, moving those defensive backs out of the way. So I think Alshon Jeffries is the best receiver.
A lot of people have been, I don't know if this is moving to the defensive side of the ball or not, but a lot of people have been very critical of the cornerbacks for Philadelphia and that they have to lay back. They're going to give you the play in front because they know they can't cover you deep, so they're going to lay way off. To me, that is death by, I don't know, a bleeding or something with Tom Brady. He's just going to pick you apart. Bing, bing, bing. He may not get deep, but he's going to hit you with 12, and then he's going to hit you with 8, and then he's going to hit you with 12, and pretty soon they're in the end zone. To me, does Philadelphia have to change what they do to try to take that stuff away from Philly? Because to me, that's Tom Brady's game, and it has been for many years. Pick, and you're in the end zone.
And you're a better football mind than I am, but I will bring up this analysis of what I know. Is if you notice in the Vikings game, the Vikings receivers were getting open when they were ahead. They jumped ahead 7-0. That whole first drive, New England had no answer.
Right.
Okay, all our receivers
Philly had no answer.
Philly had no answer. Second drive, we were moving, and something happened. I can't remember what. I think we got called on a penalty, which ended a drive, which can end drives. That's why refs calling penalties can be so crucial. But I think if you notice the first 3 drives, you can see the weakness that Philly has, and it's their defensive back. Their best defensive back, safety Malcolm Jenkins. Okay, and he's fairly average. He's a good football player, not a great football player. Okay. But when he's your best, they don't have the corners that Marshawn Lattimore and the New Orleans Saints had. So again, if they can get ahead those defensive backs play better because the front seven get a little more pressure on Brady, and that's what they did to Keenum. And so I guess I always look at it, in most cases, your best defensive backs are the product of a good defensive line and a good front seven. So that would be my analysis on that.
We talked about the defensive line for Philly a little bit when we were at the Viking, and we talked about them stopping the run game. They also talk about, and this is what they did to the Vikings, they seem to get quite a bit of pressure on Keenum and the Vikings. But to me, New England, that's not, they're not looking to throw those 3-second pass routes. It's a second and a half, 1.8, maybe 2 seconds, and Brady's got the ball. You're not going to get pressure on Tom Brady very, very often because probably somebody's going to be coming open, or he's going to be smart enough to be looking someplace else and throw back over to here where somebody's at. So to me, it's an interesting dynamic because does the Jim Schwartz-led defense that you talked about maybe yesterday really have to maybe change their colors, change their stripes to try to do things differently and maybe not attack so much, but maybe leave only 3 guys rushing and putting 8 back into coverage and covering guys and putting guys under and a lot more disguising and see if they can be a little more aggressive with their D-backs. To me, like I said, otherwise, I don't know if you have a chance.
No, and that's what they do. I mean, there's probably not a quarterback in the NFL. Again, it's like the Brady talk-up hour here. I brag about him all the time, but he gets to the line of scrimmage and he has a good idea. So I guess for Coach Doug Peterson and the defensive coordinator of the Eagles, they better bring something different to the table because they've been scouted pretty well.
Wow.
They've probably watched every game that Philadelphia's played, so they know what they're going to get, and Brady knows how to go against it.
And I found it interesting. You might remember the first touchdown that the Vikings scored in the championship game. The Philadelphia Eagles were running all over creation. The Vikings came out with a different formation, and they had guys running, no idea where they should go, how they should defend it. And the tight end, my goodness, Rudolph came wide open because they didn't know where they were at. It didn't seem like after that the Vikings could surprise Philly. They never seemed to be out of position again. And it's interesting with 2 weeks to start scheming things and get things out there. Who's better than Tom Brady and his group to kind of come up with a scheme to try to get Philly out of their mix? And like I said, when you've got 2 weeks, it opens up all kinds of possibilities. And so it's going to be an interesting ball game.
And again, we haven't made our picks yet, but I mean, if you've been watching the first 2 episodes here, I guess you can kind of see where we're leaning a little bit. Yeah. But I might have a surprise for people.
I don't believe it.
I think I might have a surprise for you. But,
okay, who's got the better defense? Let's
go briefly into this, and then we'll get going. Best defense is on paper is Philadelphia. They have the better athletes, better front seven. Okay, but preparation, schemes, how to hide things. I give New England a little more. I think their coaching staff has been here, done this, and they know what they're doing.
So you're telling me, and I want to make sure, that if we're saying who's got the better offense, we're both checking New England. If we say who's got the better defense, we're both checking Philly. Yeah. That's what we're saying.
That's what we're saying.
So when New England's out there on offense, when New England's on Philly's on defense, that's the best it's going to get.
Well, we haven't got the special teams. That could be the decision maker in this game, or turnovers. Which team creates more turnovers? And I think we both know the answer to that question. It's Philadelphia. So again, always turnovers, and that was the difference to me in the Vikings game. Is 5 turnovers, 3 of them in crucial situations. Yeah. Where the game could have been 14-14, 14-10, and Philadelphia creates a turnover. So that's going to be the intangible in this game. That could be the reason I'm going away. I'm going against what I've been talking about. But we're going to find out here at our next location.
Wait a minute now. I saw a tweet out this morning or last week.
Tweets are nothing but lies. Think about it. You think
everything that you said
I'm
about
going to send all my information that's true out to people I don't even know?
So when you said last week that Stewart and Foligno should just be flat out waived by the Wild.
They should be.
You said it's lies.
It was proven again last night. Both of them are useless. Get rid of them. Don't need them.
Don't need them.
We'll bring up, and hopefully, I think both would get claimed if you waive them. Okay, we can't afford their salaries. We can't afford to bring someone up and send them both to the minors. We can't afford that. But if we put them both on the minors and somebody bites and takes them, now we just lost 2.7 million, 1.2 million. Then we could bring up Cunnin, who should be up here, and maybe Rao. And those guys are better hockey players, harder workers, can make things happen.
But Stewart can score in the shootouts.
Yeah,
Isn't
okay.
that's going to be very
we're going to dress you, but you're not
playoff.
playing unless we get in a shootout. When we get in the shootout, we'll throw you out there. Ready to move on?
I think so.
Head to the Border Bar next.
We're going to Border Bar.
Again, thanks Lori at Hanson's Outpost for inviting us here. The bar is starting to fill up here, slowly but surely. Expecting a full crowd here in another 2 hours. But we're going to go over to Border Bar for the 3 o'clock show.
All right, come on back. Well, here we are. It's last stop on the Super Bowl tour of shows, whatever. We're here.
Are you teary-eyed?
I'm a little. This could be the end of it.
Yeah, this could be our last show ever.
We never know. You'll never know. We're here at Border Bar as the place is starting to fill up nicely. As they've got the food in the back over here. That's why I'm pointing over here.
Chicken wings, I asked.
Chicken wings.
So what are you guys having? Chicken wings. So what else? Chicken wings.
This sounds like the Bullstead party.
I think that's a good idea.
That sounds like the Bullstead
party.
party.
Why cook a whole bunch of different foods that, people don't want to eat? Everybody likes chicken wings. Nothing's going to go to waste. They're all going to be gone by the end of the day. I think it's a genius idea.
Aren't we worried about the number of chickens that have to sacrifice them? No.
Oh, chicken wings are unlimited. What do they do with the rest of the bird?
Chicken wings are unlimited.
Well, seriously, what do they do with the rest of the bird?
You couldn't do what you do to like chicken legs.
It goes into chicken Kievs.
You couldn't do that with chicken legs.
Chicken bolognese. Chicken cacciatore.
So anyway, that begs the question.
I noticed we got something edited out when we were over in Fort Francis. Do you know what that would have been?
No, I don't know what that would have been.
A small little segment got edited out.
Did we say something inappropriate?
I don't think so.
I don't think we did either.
But
interesting. I did not notice that.
I think it was a pretty small portion, like maybe a 5-second edit. But
interesting. Maybe
I guarantee you, if anything's edited, it's because of me. Okay, so whatever it was, we'll never know, I guess.
Yeah, kind of scary. So we're here again at Border Bar, and now it's time to get into the closer to the reveal of who we're picking and who's going to be here. And I'm going to do one more editing job because I don't like the way the camera turns because it doesn't look right. So this is in-house editing. So anyway, we were talking at the Outpost that we wanted to talk about. We wanted to talk about special teams. So who's got the edge in the special teams?
Well, I actually think Philadelphia does. I don't know why.
You don't know why?
I don't have any information on it, any specifics, but we have to give an edge to Philadelphia in something. So why not special teams? I heard their punter's really good.
Their punter probably
They got Elliott, good place kicker, but New England's got the best in the business in Gotskowski.
Yeah,
I don't know where I'm getting my information from, but I'm going to live with it. Philadelphia has a better special teams.
Okay, so I'll call it a push.
Okay.
Fair enough.
That's
although in the place kicking game, Philly does not have the edge there. The Patriots definitely had the edge in the place kicking. After that, I would say it's probably kind of up in the air. Amendola does the punt returning, but he catches the ball and secures it and does that. So to me, that's about all you got there. So of course we talked about intangibles. We mentioned that a little earlier. There's no doubt in my mind who has that, and that's probably the biggest check mark other than a quarterback in my mind is the intangibles. You've been here. They know what it's like. Somebody, excuse me, mentioned on one of the shows this morning, and I only watched probably 15 minutes. They mentioned about being in the big game and working their way through a 4-hour game, because that's essentially what it becomes, and the taking off of probably the equipment at halftime, because it's not a 13-minute halftime like the regular season. No. Now it's a 30-minute halftime, so everybody goes in, probably takes off their shoulder pads and gets a fresh shirt and maybe a whole new uniform if they're wet, and they start all over again and get things there. And get those jerseys put back on and everything else. So they've been there before. New England probably Philly would like to think that they've been there before, but it's not the same.
When was the last time? 19 years ago?
04 was the last time they played, and they played New England.
So Donovan McNabb, of course, was a quarterback, and definitely good. Here's a big question. We'll get to our stuff later, but Nick Foles.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the Eagles are playing on that a little bit. The underdog role. They're definitely using that to their advantage. Nick Foles instead of Carson Wentz, trying to get a contract is what he's trying to do. If Philadelphia, even if they lose this Super Bowl, Nick Foles is going to be wanted by at least a couple 4 teams. What do you think Nick Foles is going to do today, and will he be efficient? Will he be good?
I think he throws for over 200 yards, but not for 250 yards.
Okay.
I think he has probably...
Do you know what his over-under on that stat is?
I have no idea what
It's interesting that you said that. It's 235.
235, okay.
So would you go over the 235 or
No, if I were going to bet on that, I would bet the under on that. I think Philly's going to try to come out and run the ball a little bit. With Jai, they're going to try to do some of that and try to keep the ball some balance.
Yeah, keep the ball out of Brady's hands.
And do that. I think that's part of their game. I think that will maybe help to calm Foles down and maybe calm the whole team down, because there's nothing better than for an offensive lineman to line up and say, "Here we come. We're zone blocking, we're scooping you, whatever you want to call it, they're doing it. Here we come." And just start run blocking and just get out there and run into people and do those things. And, the Vikings tried to do that. I mean, the first play that the Vikings ran, probably the last 14 games of the year, 13 games of the year, right off left guard, turn around, hand it off to Murray, right off left guard, and so that those guys can come out. And even if they only get a yard, those guys get to come out and smack somebody in the mouth, and I think Philly's going to try to do more of that today than New England will. New England's going to throw the ball. You got an over-under number on that? I'm going to say Brady throws the ball 45 times today.
Wow.
45 times
today. Don't have that over-under. His over-under on passing yards is 285.
Okay.
So if he throws the ball 45 times, he will be well over that.
Yeah.
285. But again, when we have our party later today, we have 14 prop bets.
Sure.
That everybody picks. Everybody throws in one potato chip, and whoever has the most correct answers wins. Another one is Rob Gronkowski's over 75 yards. It's kind of an interesting. The most interesting one is Pink. Her national anthem is going to be over 2 minutes or under 2 minutes.
You asked me this yesterday. Definitely over 2.
You're going over.
I'm definitely going over 2. I would say the standard national anthem's about 80 seconds to 90 seconds. Standard, regular. You go listen to a band play at a high school, and believe me, I listen to about 100 of them a year. I've got it down. It's about 80 to 85 seconds. When you get the special ones, it's not going to be Aretha Franklin 4 minutes and 20 seconds, but it's going to be over 2 minutes.
I heard Pink's a little under the weather.
Oh, well, that could change.
A little flu-like symptoms.
That could change things.
Okay,
that could change things.
Could change things a lot. Why don't we bring in Brad? You want to join us? Why don't we bring Brad Olson in here? Brad, we'd give you the outside spot, but
it's tradition that they got to sit.
Yeah, me and Ringer are basically the bookends.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
From International
My
Falls.
friend Mike, my friend Tim.
Yeah, so you're here at Border Bar to participate in the events. I'm guessing eat about 30 chicken wings and go home.
Try.
There you go.
So what's your thoughts, Brad, on the Super Bowl 52 here in Minneapolis?
I think, I wish I got to follow you through the whole
process today?
Right. So
Why do you need the answer from us?
I'm hearing the tail
You don't
end.
have a
here's
mind of your own?
The part that I took from it when I was listening was that you're talking special teams.
Yeah.
You're talking about kicking and the punting. I think that part of it that you're going to see today is like what they did last year in New England. And the part that you left off, and that what I would say would be the kickoff. it's kicking off into the corner about to the 5-yard line, but don't let it go outside. You know, where they're not going to give them, when you're talking about punching them in the mouth and whatnot, that's part of the game. And the game is that keeping their backs to the wall, which is the goal line. So the farther you keep, then it becomes predictable. It's like if I played chess against you, it wouldn't be much of a game, you know. I'd let you give some pawns, but I'd take your bishops, your rooks, and then your queen and king, you know. But that's part of this game. That
Obviously,
I think that
you don't know my chess game.
but when you were talking about special teams, I was thinking, because I thought we talked about this before last year, about what I thought about the Patriots kicking it, but they weren't just saying, I'm going to kick it off and give it to you at the 25. I'm going to kick it to the corner, but not out, and you got to run it back, and you ain't getting past the 15.
You're saying my odds of keeping you inside the 25 are better than that way.
Absolutely, and that's part of the game. I think
you've done research.
No,
I didn't even tell you.
I was just listening part of your thing, and I was thinking about what are they telling people, and what you know. But when you leave out that point, this game is, I'm just saying, is somewhat like chess. This, if you weighed both the teams, quarterback, running back, you know what not?
We've done that already.
Yeah, that's why they're pretty equal. So it comes down to special teams.
Foles is equal to Brady?
I didn't say that, but well, wait a minute now. Do you think that the Philadelphia running backs are better than the New England or less? You think
I think they're pretty close.
They're close, but which one would you give the upper hand?
I like Deion Lewis. That's my.
He's a little guy. He likes the little guys.
But
that
Bully likes that little boom, boom, boom. Oh, here. He doesn't want you to handle it.
I look at the system too.
Blunt's going to knock him in the mouth.
Yeah, but who fits into what system better? Blunt played for New England last year.
Right, and they're going to be wishing that they had him back.
And are they going to be wishing that he was out playing defense so he could tell them what Tom's calling at the line?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know.
Well, Blunt runs like a 10.340.
I'm telling you, he's a man. He's a beast, Mike. He's a big man. There ain't, you know, when you're talking about wanting to give him the one, he's the guy that goes and does it for you.
Okay.
He loosens them up a little bit.
But J.J.
He'll put their mouth guard back in.
J.J. will still get 75% of the carries. Blunt's more of the smash mode, like you said, down by the goal line. How many times are they going to get down to the goal line?
Well, that's
an interesting
part
question.
of the game. You know, and that's why I say is that if you can keep their backs to their goal, the better you're going to be and the better position you're going to have when you get the ball.
Okay.
So that's the point of being that keeping somebody's back to that, because then it becomes predictable. I kind of know what you're going to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It becomes, so it's...
So were you watching the game today?
I'm watching with my dad at the hospital.
Okay,
that's good.
The whole game?
Yeah.
I did want to.
We watched one last
right
night.
On TV. You're more than welcome to join us, all of my sisters, if you'd like to. But I know you and your dad are real close, and you've been with him going to all the hockey games, I think, for the last 5 years with him. And you've been a good son, and you've been loyal, and that's what father-sons do. But good for you.
Yeah.
Let's get to our picks.
All right. So,
should we extend our picks to our guests? Because whatever I say, he's going to comment.
Absolutely. So we're going to let him go first.
That's what he does.
So he's going
Everything
first.
I say and do, it's like he's like a little puppet. You know?
He's my friend. I love him to death. I love the man to death. You know, we're friends. We go along. I admire him. You know,
You've been here a long time.
Here's what I really like about the guy is that in my life, I like seeing people happy doing something that they really want to do. And this is something that I think that he likes to do.
He does.
He doesn't want to golf with me anymore because he knows he'd be going swimming again, you know?
I wasn't able to golf. I had a Gestapo not allowing me to play. Okay, I can golf now, so me and you are going to be friends again.
There you go. Okay, so the way we're going to do this, we'll give Brad the chance to pick first. I'll go second. We'll let Mike give you the drum roll because that's
then
the
we're
most
going to ask our audience.
and then the most important pick. So
Donnie
Brad,
Severe over there.
who wins? What's the score?
I am going with
Taco Wall.
New England 17-14.
Wow, low scoring. Really low scoring.
I say it's not. It's
Tony Dungy says it's going to be over.
Who's
Tony Dungy?
Yeah, right. It's like, you know, Skip Bayless. You know,
You're going New England 17-14.
I say low. I say it's the game of keeping them their backs to the wall, and then if the other team can't get it in, here's the thing of it is you're going to see long field goals or tries maybe,
but misses because at 17-14,
right?
There's going to be one field goal.
There's going to be a couple misses, I'm going to guess too.
Okay.
I'm throwing that out. I'm going to say.
And you got New England?
I got New England.
And the main reason for the win? Which player? Running back,
coach, special teams.
Yeah, I like your. You go right back to what you said right away. And
Coaches
I like
and
your
special
thought,
teams.
and I will watch that today.
Because I think it's too even. Everything else is too even. I think it's going to be a low score. That's what I think.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's right. But.
As you've been watching the show, I basically said Patriots offense is the better offense. The Philadelphia Eagles defense better, real close push, or maybe the edge to the Patriots on the special teams. Intangibles, no doubt about, to the Patriots. Despite all those check marks, probably for the Patriots. I said this yesterday on Coach's Corner, and I'll say it again here. New England plays close Super Bowls. They don't blow people out for whatever reason. They don't do it. I'm not saying that that's good, bad, or otherwise. It's close, and I said that yesterday, and I'm going to stick with my pick: 24-20. New England wins 24-20. Lower scoring than maybe what Mike is thinking, but I think that's where it's going to be: 24-20.
Based on what? Who's your Super Bowl MVP?
Ooh, Super Bowl MVP probably is going to be Tom Brady, who was the NFL MVP at 40 years of age, which I don't necessarily agree with. I don't know if he was the most valuable player for their team. Yes, he is maybe the greatest quarterback ever. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think he was the MVP of the NFL this year. I think he was there kind of by default. Well, Tom's made it to the Super Bowl again, although they voted probably a couple weeks ago. The whole idea that he's the NFL, the best player in the NFL, I don't know. I don't know if I'd agree with that.
Well, here's my comment on that. You know where I've been with my MVP all year.
Yes.
It was Todd Gurley.
Yep.
How do you be named, Tim, the NFL Offensive Player of the Year, okay, which Brady did not win, Todd Gurley won, and then not be named the MVP at the same time? Wouldn't you think the NFL Offensive Player of the Year would be the same guy as the MVP?
Now, Mike, remember, you've been arguing that he helps the defense out, that he's over there coaching it. So, to me, the one you've been arguing might back that up, but I agree with you. Todd Gurley, it makes me wonder, like I said, not that he's not deserving, because he's outstanding.
He's deserving.
But, okay, where's your pick?
Comment on that?
Yes.
Well, he excels. Gurley excelled, but for a different reason, he would have gotten what he got. But now, when you try to put in peril, MVP, I believe, of the playoff year and the overall year, I don't know if that's a fair comparison.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
just
here's my pick.
Here's the pick. I've been waiting.
And
you've been waiting.
There isn't a bigger wishy-washy person when it comes to sports and picks than Bully. Am I right, Foxy? Foxy.
Is he
Am I wishy-washy?
No. He says no.
So what I'm doing here, and you know where I'm going. I've been picking New England for 2 weeks.
You've been picking New England for 4 months.
4 months.
Since September.
Remember what I mentioned at the Outpost? I said turnovers are going to be a key part of this game. Nobody creates bigger and better turnovers than the Philadelphia Eagles. And with that, I say they turn the ball over 3 times a day. They get at least 1 defensive touchdown. Wow. Philadelphia will win this game 24-21 on a late field goal by Jake Elliott. And I'm sticking to that. The more I've analyzed everything in this game,
I thought we were talking.
The more I've analyzed and talked about New England being, I just feel it's the year of the Eagle. We all hate both teams. Okay, who's kidding who? I've just come to conclude this is a type of team that's living that underdog role to the maximum. They will win Super Bowl 52 in Minneapolis.
Not that 24-21, that lowest score. That's where I want.
It's
Really?
going under the number. The number's 48.5, the over-under. So, yes, it will go under. That's the only way the Eagles will win, if the game goes under.
Now, would you say Tom Brady is the best quarterback ever playing in the NFL?
Yes, I will say that.
Tim?
Yes. There's been a lot of great ones.
No.
But he,
Of course.
but he,
No.
Of course not.
he is a coach on the field who, as Mike has said a couple times today, sees things, and when he walks up to the line of scrimmage, he's probably got 3 or 4 plays in his mind, and he looks at what's going on, what they're trying to disguise, what they're not trying to disguise, and then says, "This is the best play. I'm going to call it out. This is where we're going. Boom. This is what's happening." And I know a lot of guys can do it, but nobody's done it like he has for as long as he has.
He is great.
Who is the best ever, Brad?
Well, I mean,
Sure, you're going to give me some corny answer.
but you got to look at it just in the times. I mean, really, it's you living in
How
the
many
time.
Super Bowls has he
Well, wait, it would be like comparing LeBron to Michael Jordan.
Okay, yeah.
Boy,
You know what I'm saying?
my students love to have that conversation.
Well, I mean, it's just so. Here's the real question: how could you even pose the question? How can you even be a
Apples and oranges.
Well, how can you when it's unknown? I don't know. I mean, really, how would you ever base the story other than, I mean, if he makes that 6th ring, that is.
So who's your MVP? Who's your best ever?
Best quarterback ever.
You said Brady isn't. I better get an answer.
Joe Montana.
2 Super Bowls, Joe.
But it was different back then.
3.
It was
Steve Young won.
Yeah,
2.
The best.
He might have won 4.
But the best
Steve might have
quarterback.
only won the 1.
Yeah.
Keep
But
going.
the best quarterback, I think, really ever played the game that didn't get MVPs.
If you say Fran Darkington, I'm coming right over.
Absolutely not. I'm going to tell you, Warren Moon.
Dan Marino.
That's where you were
No,
going.
I'm not. But I saw
Warren Moon's.
I saw him up in front, like here to the camera, and down with the Rooshes, right?
Yeah.
And but I went to a game too where he played down in Tampa, me and Marlo, and went and hitched some tickets out front when they played Tampa. But I'm telling you, the thing of it is, how do you compare to that guy that played in the CFL?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
tough.
So how do you compare? You can't even add him into it.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not something you're going to
Apples and
equate.
oranges.
Right.
And I might get in trouble for what I'm going to say next.
But I'm just saying the best quarterback in my lifetime that I believe, by how I look,
Similarly,
is
Joe's pretty good. Joe was pretty good.
you talk about Bronco hockey and the history, the 60s, 62's getting in this year, 64, 63, 65, 66, all state championship teams. You got to remember, 72 won it, 73 should have won it. Okay, so comparing apples and oranges, now you go back into my era where we were producing 10, 11 Division I players a year, but was the competition different?
right.
We didn't have 12-minute periods. We couldn't put, Sheehy out there every other shift. Okay, so it's really tough comparing the decades and the generations.
Yeah.
And which teams were better, which players were even better.
Right. How do you measure? That's
Exactly.
It's
again, I'm not discrediting what they did in the 60s. I think it's amazing. It'll
Yeah.
never be done again. Just for the fact I'm saying that there's so many better quality teams nowadays, and that again, I probably get in trouble for that, but it's my belief, and I'm sticking to it.
But-
so we got Philly, New England, and New England. Foxy, who's going to win the Super Bowl today?
New England! Fucking cheaters.
Tie game, that's what we can hope for.
Game.
That's what
I
we can
think
hope for.
this game has drawn the least amount of interest for a Super Bowl ever, because nobody likes the Eagles and nobody likes the Patriots. Even the Canadians, I got Slug over here. He wants the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
he's a blue bomber.
Go Bombers!
But okay, we're gonna finish this show out. Thank you for watching. I hope you had a good time. Hopefully it's not our last show.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week, and then we'll go from there. Anyways,
Brad.
don't take
Thank
us too
you.
serious.
Thanks, everybody.